Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're back again with our tonight's show, Economical Debate. And we have our first panelist here, Mr. Adit.
Hi.
And we have the second panelist here, Mr. Rasyid Ramadhan.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so today's issue is regarding the deregulation of the Indonesian regulation regarding construction building, and then there's a lot of other regulations. So, for Mr. Arif first, what do you think about this deregulation?
Well, based on my opinion, deregulation is certainly good for us in order to increase the level of foreign direct investment. Why? I do think because that in the latest scheme of trade war, no investor from abroad who moved from China entered Indonesia because probably due to more complicated bureaucracies and regulations, as well as increased costs due to waiting time and other things. So I think that by just deregulating things, it'll make everything simpler for investors and make our country more attractive to them.
Okay, so it has been said that making deregulations, it will make the regulation more simpler and then attracting more investors and such and such. Do you have an opinion about this, Mr. Rama?
Meanwhile, he said that the regulation may attract more investor and such. I have I have some objection about that, especially because if we do deregulation, I think we will lose some control on our economic sector, especially if this investor didn't get any regular administration, which can lead to further problem in economic development for local people. Yeah.
So you say that there is less development for the local people using this deregulation. So do you have an opinion about that, Mr. Adit?
I'm sorry, but what do you mean about the problem of development? Because certainly investment is usually created to sustain the lives of workers, albeit independent, albeit not directly, because by getting them to work alongside giving them cash transfers and social safety nets, it'll make them, more easier to go out from poverty, assuming that the regulation itself is benevolent and like having a side towards the poor people.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, that is the point. If they, since assuming that some people, especially young people, trying to open new job, especially in the medium-sized market, they need a capital, right? And when they open capital, why don't they use capital from local people rather than international investor? Because it's like the guy who opened is having a pie.
Do you mean economic pie?
Yeah, no, not the economic pie. It's more like the shareholder pie.
Oh, sure.
So when he opened, for example, he opened the company itself. He have 100% of the pie.
Oh yeah.
Okay, if there is a deregulation, assuming the regulation is already in effect, then there is more and more investor which can take those pie from the owner or those people who invent or open the company in the first place. As such, they will get less pie, even though they are the one that cooking the pie.
Okay, so but I do think that this is where government should regulate the market because it is completely impossible to completely deregulate the market as in the case of 2008 financial crisis. Okay, so it is basically caused by the deregulation of the financial markets, and taking from that case, I think the government really should create another new simple law to allow the initial stakeholders or the inventors as well as local people who have the capital to gain more of the share. I mean, yes, of course, investment from abroad is important and local capital is important, but why not using some kind of local capital? Because it is not technologically advanced enough. I do think so, and the investment from the abroad might help the technological development for the local people and to develop them, but I think that local people, the government should work together to gain a small bit this fraction of dominance.
Okay, so wait, you said the local capital isn't technological advanced enough. Can you elaborate more about that?
Okay, based on my opinion, in Indonesia, we were just focusing heavily towards subsistence sectors, sectors like agriculture or fishery or mining, something that is extractive, and we do not create anything such as intermediate goods that can be used for other purposes. We only give raw materials, and there is no technology that is being looked by the government to create to manage outputs and creating more advanced goods in Indonesia. So I think that by giving a chance from for investors abroad to invest in our country, we will be able to get our hands on the newest technologies in order to advance our economy.
I see. So, do you have an opinion about that?
Well, he certainly have some point about Indonesian technology behind. Although I have some objection about some issue that he said that again the capital is not ready enough from the local people to open new technological form. Although in my opinion, if we try to dis distribute. I forget the name. Yeah, we distribute the local capital because we know that 97% or maybe 90% of Indonesian economy is generated in the capital city. So maybe rather than deregulating, the government should create a policy which encourage people to invest more on the area other than the capital city. So as such, everyone can get back enough capital to invent or to innovate in something like that. Because I believe a company such as Gojek is made by Indonesia, and I believe we have the human intellectual and the capital, but we just do not have the distribution network that needed to do it. Thank you.
So, you said that this deregulation will impose on inequalities in the terms of regions, right? So, do you have any objection regarding that?
It's a hard opinion. Let me think just for a while. So just to reaffirm that he said that we need to distribute chances,
Capital and chances.
capital and chances, so local people can.
Yeah, other than the capital city people.
Okay, so hold on, it's kind of hard to answer that.
Yeah, so I elaborate more about that. So, Mr. Rama said that if there's investment from the foreign, and then there is a doubt that the whole investment is located in the capital of the Indonesia, which is Jakarta, and then drive the inequalities among the regions, which is like Kalimantan and then Sumatra and such and such. You get this point, right?
Yeah.
And then, what is your opinion regarding that?
Well, I certainly think that the government has to act to develop those countries first. The government has to move first before making a chance for local people, because the government also still focus the development in Java only. If there is no movement from the government, there will be no equal chances, even to that it is some kind of an optimal outcome for everyone. But the government has to move first, and so far as we can see that there is no demand from the local people for the government to create equality. No, actually the demand only comes from experts, and there is no action that is created. So what do you think about that?
Can you give an example of government movement? What do you mean by that?
For example, many of the developments and infrastructure policy are being created in Java centric. I think that's the example, but I'm still trying to get a grip on this idea. So I'm going to ask you first. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Well, this is actually an interesting one because this is also part of my interest on why the development only focuses on the Java island and not other island. Although there is some objection, such as in Sumatra, currently the president already creating a toll road for Trans Sumatra and Papua at the same time. Although, yeah, really, the problem is because the inequality only understand by the expert, and then the local people cannot see the inequality itself. As such, if we open more opportunity and give them more capital, they can understand what make them maybe not actually unequal or something like that. Oh, uh,
Yeah, so I get the point. So there's information asymmetry from the point of view from the local people and from the experts. So to see these inequalities is quite difficult for the local people because you say that the experts are more known about it. So okay, that's we're gonna cut it today. So this is our first meeting. This is our first set of the debate, and we want to move to the second topic, which is after this break. Thank you for listening. So come back again with our topic today, with this second topic about quick investment program. So there's an issue such as like Indonesia want to deregulate the regulation regarding the investment, and then Indonesia want to make it quick so the FDI will be boosted enough. And then some such examples is like no need for representation. If you want to make an investment, there is no need for representative, and then also, or even you don't need to have 1,000 employees in the company, or even you only need to invest around 100 billion rupiah. So, what is your opinion about that, Mr. Adit?
Well, in parallel to what I've said before in the first half, I do think that this is certainly a good progress for the government, because once again that investing in Indonesia should really be simplified, and this 3-hour process is just more than enough to to act as an exemplary thing for simplifying investment, because that in practice there are a lot of regulations as well as vested interest from political parties, and by just simplifying this and coordinating with people who are very 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 clearly related to this without talking to someone who has another political interest and other known self-interest as well, and being objective, and also having some kind of clear regulations in these 3 hours, it'll be better for us, I think.
Any opinion about that, Mr. Rama?
okay, about may you repeat again? Kind of forget the regulation of investment, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the example is like they don't need like 1,000 employee.
Yeah.
So, well, I agree that current Indonesian system on investment is very complicated. Although I don't agree that deregulating it will actually attract more investor, because first of all, and it's not in the best interest of our people, especially for our working people, because let's just say there is a company that try to invest in our nation, and then because there is this regulation, they can invest more and more, although we cannot know whether or not this company is actually have a predatory market system or not, or maybe they can disrupt already existing market or not. As such, I don't think that we actually need to deregulate it, because if everyone can go into Indonesia and open a new market, maybe there is, we don't know, maybe there is already a small UMKM which already inside those market, and then they get bulldozed by the big company which have more economic power and market share than the actual UMKM, which actually can impact much more the smaller community, which harder to reach for the government.
Okay, so basically you said that there might be some sort of monopoly practice, and small companies are more likely to be destroyed by the existence.
Yeah.
But I do think that the small company will not accept themselves as being destroyed just like that. They will certainly make a movement, and the government if they are benevolent enough, they will try to facilitate the movement and create some sort of bargaining power for them. This is where the government still goes in this pathway. I do think that you assume that deregulation is full deregulation, but I don't really think so. This is some sort of deregulation in which government still holds a hand in certain crucial sectors, but mostly the rule is just simplified. It's not that the market is able to do anything what they want. That's why some sort of institution such as what is it, KPPU or Komisi Pengawasan Persaingan Usaha exist. They exist in order to control and regulate the large parties so they do not act as a monopsony or monopoly practitioners. I mean, there will be no. I do think that the government will be wise enough to overview the deregulated markets, even to that the rules are simplified. So there will be nothing such as the UMKM being destroyed by the existence of the market, because the government also understands that they are important, and they will certainly try to elevate the level of investment, because if we only rely purely on investment and abroad and not developing our account and not developing our local resources, then what's the investment for?
Okay, so I guess I can conclude this all debate. So for the deregulation itself, the government tends to want to simplify the process of boosting the foreign direct investment. But there's an opinion that this also will threat the small medium enterprises that are currently worked by the local people. So that's it for the economical debate today, and that's it for our debate. And thank you for listening. See you in the next round.
Next round.